fair share of ups and downs. Few can match the highs and lows that have come the way of England cricketer Ben Stokes, perhaps.
From a brawl outside a nightclub in Bristol to hero of the Cricket World Cup, he's been talking to Dan about glory on the field, support of his family and press intrusion.
Good evening. England have won the Men's Cricket World Cup in one of the most extraordinary games ever played.
Former England captain Andrew Strauss is calling it the greatest game of cricket in history. 50 overs ended in a draw. It went into a super over, which is effectively a penalty shootout for cricket. And it ended with England being crowned world champions for the very first time.
I thought we'd lost it. I thought it was all over. I know, I was like that in my hands in my head.
That is the greatest one-day cricket match of all time.
With what we managed to achieve this summer, you know, throughout, well, even through the World Cup, you know, we all started noticing that, you know, we're getting sort of like spoken to a bit more in the street or when we're out for dinner. I think that comes from what we managed to do, you know, not just as a one-day team, but, you know, as a test team as well. It's something we wanted to do was to reach out to a new set of fans and you know, get people falling in love with cricket again. You know, as well as winning the World Cup and trying to win the Ashes as well. We wanted to do that, but you know, we know that we've achieved the goal of making cricket big again, and we're very proud of that.
Going back to that game against New Zealand, can you remember it clearly? Do you still go through that in your head?
Yeah, I guess you do. But when you watch it, you know, I've watched it back as everyone else has done.
Be honest, how many times?
Yeah, quite a few. But there's certain bits that you don't remember. You only sort of you see for the first time. I was like, oh, I didn't even know I did that. I didn't even know that happened. But then there's other bits that you get reminded of from watching it on TV. And obviously, you don't get to see that side of it when you're out there in the middle, or even when you're spectating, because you know it's like so many different camera angles. You know, the commentary you don't get to hear when you're watching. So even though I know what happens, it's still like nerve-wracking watching.
Reading the book, you don't seem to be worried or nervous in that arena when all the pressure's on, when all the eyes are on you, and actually you sort of thrive there. How do you manage to do that?
In the game here, the only time I really started getting like a panic on sort of, you know, in my tummy and in my head was in that last over when the first two balls were dots. But all the time building up to those to that last over, you know, as I say, as you know, just be here at the end, be here in the last over, and even if it's, you know, 15 required as it was, you know, we've got a better chance of me being here than, you know, someone of our tail enders.
I love you talking about the celebrations at the end, and there's one cheeky little story about you avoiding a post-match press conference by feigning being completely gone with alcohol.
Yeah. It's trying to get people who don't understand, who don't really know what goes on the field. You know, obviously you see the celebrations and stuff like that, but it's trying to get people into like the moment that we had there. And I thought it was crucial that, you know, I'll tell you what everything that happens after a game finishes, like a World Cup final, and if you do well, how everybody wants you. Like I missed the sing-song with the Barmy Army there when we were doing that because I had to do an interview, and eventually got back up to the changing rooms, you know, with everyone in, and then, right, you're on again downstairs, and I was like, nah, I ain't missing this. I ain't missing this. So I just had to do that because, as you say, you may never ever experience those memories or moments ever again in our career, so I wasn't missing it.
The World Cup final was one incredible day at the end of a long tournament. The time at Headingley, do you rank that above what happened here? Can you rank them, or are they completely different experiences?
Can't choose between. If I was to pick to redo one again, honestly, I could not pick. You know, I've asked them this a few times and say it again, like it's like choosing between 2 3s and a 6. You just can't. I cannot pick between which one I preferred out of those. The only difference is at the end of Lords there was something to show for it in terms of the World Cup trophy, but you know, one day I might have a favourite, but at this moment in time I literally cannot split the two.
I mean, it's been a brilliant cricketing year, but it's also been a year when you've been on both the front and the back pages. Was some of what has been written about you and what happened in Bristol, which people know about, was any of that in your mind during the World Cup final and during the Ashes? Trying to sort of find redemption in some way?
Yeah, no, I mean that word redemption obviously has been flying around a bit, but...
Does it annoy you when you hear that? Or?
It doesn't annoy me, because you can understand why people would say, like, it's a really good story to do. Same as like Steve Smith and, you know, coming back in, exactly the same, and having an amazing Ashes series, you know. But from my point of view, I don't see it like that at all. I see it as me going out, doing as good as I can to help my team win games. You know, I don't see it as a redemption. There's nothing else towards it. I'm not doing it to, you know.
It's not a sort of that'll prove you wrong type thing.
No,
never.
Nothing. No.
And the other thing that I think lots of people admire is the support of your family, whether that's Claire, whether that's your kids or your mum and dad in New Zealand. And that's something which you've been really keen to talk about and reflect in the book as well. Because without that, all those sacrifices for so many years, you wouldn't be sat here talking about an amazing few months.
You need a support unit that are going to be with you and back you through thick and thin, and that's what family are, that's what friends are. And they like you, they love you for the person that you are. They don't love you just because you're, you know, an international cricketer. Yeah. So, you know, without support of people like that, things, you know, can go pear-shaped quite quick.
And because of who you are, there has been stuff written about you. Was that an affront to those people that you've spoken about, the people that you love?
People can say what they want, you know, about me. I'm used to it, but, you know, when it's about family who just do not deserve to be not exposed like that, but to be the centre of attention around because they're a family member or as someone is in the public eye, is just disgusting. And when it's your own family, like, yeah, no matter who you are, people attack your family, you just don't go there.
Can you still lead a normal life now? Has what's happened this summer, has it meant, you know, trips out with the kids or visits to restaurants, or whatever you do as a normal person, has that changed forever, do you think?
No, it's still normal. We just get a few more people coming up and saying like, well done, can I have a picture, which is nice. Kids are starting to get aware of it now, and they're actually quite funny about it all. Like the other day, we got stopped in the Metro Centre and by these three lads who just want to say, "Oh, well done," and he goes, "Oh, do you want a picture with my daddy?" Because they're just sort of getting used to it. They didn't really understand it. They were just like, whatever. But now he's 6. So.
Listen, it's been a real pleasure talking to you.
Cheers, mate.
Must be nice when you have that kind of moment in sport and people like that just want to come up and say, well done.
Yeah,
what a nice
absolutely.
feeling that must be.
Do you know, he's got quite a funny sense of humour. I was just looking at his Twitter feed and his dad, Gerard, has tweeted, "To my amazing wife, wishing you a very happy birthday for tomorrow." And Ben Stokes has retweeted going, "As amazing as Mam is, Dad, probably could have waited till tomorrow to wish a happy birthday."
Okay, got it in early.
Got it in early. You can do it twice. Ben has a book out. It's called On Fire, My Story of England's Summer to Remember.